Will Trump win the election? And how do you use these turbulent times to manifest your deepest desires? Hi, I'm Kaylin, the author of several spiritual books, including Be You, Be Authentic, Be Unlimited. And I've also been a teacher of spirituality for nearly 20 years, taking people on journeys all over the world and teaching meditation classes and advanced spiritual classes. In this video, we are going to talk about how you can take advantage of these crazy turbulent times, and you're going to get my spiritual prediction as to whether or not Trump is going to win this election. Now first, before I tell you whether or not, from a spiritual perspective, I think that Trump is going to win, I'm going to tell you that these times are so turbulent. There is such a division between the parties, and unfortunately it's kind of coming down into people, that one of the things that's going on is I'm being visited by macaws. Hello, this is my Harlequin macaw, Cammy, and she's coming to say good morning to me. There's so much turbulence going on, and there's such a division that it creates great opportunity for the spiritual warrior. Things have like so much uncertainty. There's so much sort of distress, like financially, politically, as far as riots go. So from that spiritual perspective, how do you take advantage? What do you do? And how does that help you manifest your deepest desires? So one of the things that's happening is, if you are familiar with the scales of energetic frequency and the emotional tones that go with it, then you know that something like fear is going to be at the top or at the bottom of the scale, and things like peace, connection are going to be more so at the top of the scale. Feeling blissful, feeling harmonious. So a spiritual warrior is going to use this time to take advantage of the fact that all of the turbulence going on politically right now is shaking things up. You've got so many things at the bottom of those frequency scales coming up. Hate, anger, frustration, deceit, all sorts of things going on, just like I've got all sorts of issues with my macaw who's trying to eat my papers. Now, it's ruffling things up, but the advantage to you as a spiritual warrior, the advantage is that as those things ruffle up, it means the energy is being moved and stirred. It means that one of two things can happen to you. You can be a spiritual victim, if you will, and you can fall into the fear, you can fall into worrying. Honestly, I don't know anyone who hasn't been financially impacted in one way or another. So you can't say that it's happening just to you, right? This is a pandemic. It's happening all over the world. People all over the world are having a financial impact. So you can be a victim and be like, I have nothing, I'm all scared, I don't trust the politicians. Or the spiritual warrior says, there's so much stirred, there's so much opportunity. How am I going to take this mobility advantage, this opportunity, and rise up? And that's one of the things that I also see going on from a political perspective. You've got this total ability for things to move around. And that's going to add to my spiritual prediction about Trump, which we'll get to. So as a spiritual warrior, your premise is you can become that spiritual warrior or victim. So let's become a spiritual warrior who's going to take advantage of this time. Now, a spiritual warrior needs to know themselves. You need to know what your absolute desire is. For example, one of my desires was to come live in Florida. Now, mind you, that was like 7 years ago, and here I am. I love it here. It is kind of hot and humid, but I have a pool, I have a view of a lake, I have my macaws to keep me company. Life is good. I really tapped into my desire, and we're living our desires. And it's just fulfilling, waking up in my home every day and with my view and my macaws and my other parrots. It's fantastic. Know your desire so that you know what it is that you want to bring forward and manifest in your life. Because just an idle desire, it's not going to be fulfilling. It's not the same. Go for your deep desires. Really spend some time with yourself every day and be with your desire. That's going to be the first step. Be with your desire. Once you know what your desire is, really spend time and ponder it and, imagine it and really connect with it. Step number 2, once you've got that going, you want to dream about your desire. Dreaming about your desire is so powerful. It uses your ability to use or manipulate energy, and I mean that in a positive way, not a negative way, but it uses your ability to manipulate energy, to travel through energy, to speak the language of energy without trying. Imagination and dreaming do that. So you take your desire, and we can use my example of living in Florida, and use that emotional, it's emotional and it's a frequency tone scale, and go up to those higher frequencies. Look at those higher frequencies, connect with them, and then dream from there. Step 2, every day, dream. Dream about what it would feel like to be hot, humid, but in paradise. Dream about what it would be like to have these beautiful birds that want so much time and attention, but they're so beautiful, they're so loving. One of my favorite things is hugging my macaw. Now, I don't think macaws are made for hugging, but I love just connecting with them. So connection and enjoyment and bliss, and I feel delighted. All of these things, I'm dreaming at those higher frequencies. So step number 1, really find with and connect your deep desire. Step number 2, imagine it, dream it. Step number 3, stay out of that bottom ring of fear, because manifesting your deep desires is going to come from these upper frequencies, not the lower frequencies. As a matter of fact, you don't really want to experience what you might manifest at those lower frequencies that are coming from fear, from worry, from concerns. So step number 3, to make sure that you're not manifesting from those lower frequencies, is going to be to be really smart and be proactive. Make a plan for yourself. Get together with your family, get together with whoever you live with, get together with who's important to you. Yesterday I talked to my daughter about some of the turbulence that's going on and that I expect to increase and to frankly get worse, because this election is one of the most heated and probably one of the most significant elections, at least in my lifetime, maybe almost in our history. I think that maybe the first election when we broke away from the British, that might have been bigger, but we're up there. This is really significant. It's so ingrained, it's so deep in people. So talk with those people, make a plan. Make sure you have some cash on hand. Make sure that you have some supplies. We've already gone through some craziness earlier in the year where you couldn't buy toilet paper, where I went to my grocery stores and the shelves were just empty. I'm like, I can't buy anything. There's nothing here. So stock some things, like your tuna, your oatmeal. Make sure that you're prepared, because when you're on an airplane and there's turbulence, the people who have never been on an airplane with turbulence and who don't have their seatbelt on, who aren't prepared, they freak out. The people who know what turbulence is, they have their seatbelt on, they're ready. They're like, okay, this is going to be uncomfortable, but, we're going to go through some clouds. That's all. So as that spiritual warrior, put yourself in that position so that as the turbulence comes our way, you are prepared. My spiritual premonition is that, yes, I think Trump is going to win the election. But it doesn't really matter who wins the election, because no matter what, you can use these times to do your 3 steps to tap into your desires. Don't forget. Number 1, first, be that spiritual warrior. Number 1, find that deep desire. Number 2, dream about it. Imagine it at those higher frequencies. Number 3, don't come down to those lower frequencies. Sort of make yourself lower frequency as much as you can, resistant, by just having your plan and by being that spiritual warrior. Thank you for joining Cami, Kailani, and I today. We'll see you on the next video. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so that YouTube lets you know the next time we're helping you raise your frequency and live the life of your dreams.